I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me, and boy, was the Force with this movie. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today, we're talking Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Pretty, I would say, mostly universally loved movie in the Star Wars fandom. We'll talk about some of the nitty-gritty here momentarily. I'm Josiah Leroy with me. We've got a full house today. Look at this. Beautiful Star Wars loving geeks. John Fick, Mr. Baba Yaga. You ready to talk some Rogue One?
Save the rebellion. Save the dream.
Freaking love it. Goosebumps. JT.
It's Rogue One is what Star Wars is supposed to be. How you doing?
I'll let that pass because you're not wrong. Tim Talbot, Rogue One.
I'm super excited. I have I think a different take than all of you on all this because this movie hit much differently for me this time around than it did last time, and I will explain why in a little while. Stay tuned.
Well then, we'll see what that means. Thanks if you're tuning in live at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. We are done talking Sabres for a little bit. This is great. You tuned in and you're like, why are they talking about hockey? Don't worry. We'll talk about it after the show again. I'm sure we will. Anyway, John Loving the Hat. Beautiful stuff. Again, twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. Whether you're watching it back later on at youtube.com/thegeekiverse or listening on podcast services around the globe. Guys, who do you think is on my Rogue One Steelbook?
Oh, I can't answer. I have it.
John? Okay. JT, who do you think's on it?
I don't know. I mean, it's not Jen, right?
Well, we'll wait. Is that your guess? Because we're going to let Tim guess as well.
Cassian.
Cassian's your guess?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tim, who do you think's on it?
Oh, K3. Shoot.
K3. Got a promotion. K2.
I'm going to take a wild guess here and just say Vader. I don't know. They love Vader.
That'd be a hell of a spoiler.
JT thinks it's K3. I like that a lot.
Sorry, K2.
K2SO.
Well, it's arguably the main character of the movie in the background. It's the Death Star, but it's also the Death Troopers. So sorry.
Ooh, cool.
That, open that one. That's sweet. The inside is sick. Do you have the 3D or the regular?
I have the 3D.
Open it.
So here's some of the discs. Show you those. Love that one.
I think our inside is different. I think the outside's the same, but the inside is different. I'm pretty sure mine is like the beach of Scarif, and they're walking across it like as a wider shot.
Yeah, I've got all the characters.
Interesting.
Or the main character, so to speak.
That's so neat.
It's funny. So when this came out, or was about to come out on home and digital, for the Geekiverse, we wrote like a fun article just for the heck of it, like 5 characters we'd want to see because you know how all the rest of them have like this uniform, there's one face on them. This was like the one that didn't. It's fine. But like my sister Jamie and I, we basically started like making up these Photoshop designs. She made up some really cool ones. So you can still check out that article if you search Rogue One Steelbook at thegeekiverse.com. But kind of fun to go through that. Anyway, the first anthology film, the first film that's not in the mainline Star Wars saga. This was meant to kick off a series of anthology movies. Well, a few things happened. We got a movie such as Solo. We got the divisive movie that is The Last Jedi. And Disney decided to take a break. And then, oh, by the way, Disney Plus came along. So now we've got a bunch of different Star Wars series in development. But an interesting time. I think no other Star Wars movie was set up for more success, maybe outside of the original trilogy, than Rogue One. You get Force Awakens back in 2015. The hype around it is off the charts. Just a year later, you're getting Rogue One. And by the way, it's also tied very closely to the original Star Wars trilogy and the original film In A New Hope from a sights, sound, and narrative era. So lots of good stuff there. What a success it was. John, why don't we go to you first? Why don't you give us your 101 thoughts on Rogue One as a whole?
So Tim, I hate to steal your thunder if I do here, because I think we might be in a similar boat. I saw Rogue One when it first came out in theaters, day one. I saw it the next day again. That's my Star Wars tradition, or in MCU at this point now too. Is I watch it at release night, and then I try to go the next day again if I can to get those viewings in. And then I bought the Steelbook Blu-ray when it came out, and those are the only 3 times I've seen Rogue One. So twice in theaters, bought the Steelbook, watched it right when it came home. When Rogue One came out, I was all systems go on Episode 7. Because we were still pre-Episode 8. So all I cared about in Star Wars is who is Rey, what's going on with Kylo Ren, where is Luke? Or not where is Luke, but what's this interaction going to be with Luke? Like, what is happening in this new world? They asked so many awesome questions in episode 7 that's all I cared about. And I went to see Rogue One, and I'm like, this was really cool. Like, this was a good movie. Like, I really enjoyed this. What a fun way to tie us back into the original trilogy. I didn't think they'd do that back then. I thought Disney was going to be, you know, all eyes forward, not looking back, not showing us Darth Vader doing the stuff like that. I'm like, really cool. Like, awesome. That was fun. People were blown away by it, and I was kind of surprised. I'm like, okay, those are your hardcore Star Wars fans. It's more of an ode to the originals. That's cool. So 2016, right? You said was Rogue One. 2016, John was like, just whelmed by it. It was good. It was fun. 2022, John, having watched The Mandalorian and since then watched all of the Clone Wars and most of Rebels and being fascinated with Star Wars on a whole different level, rewatching this movie again, holy shit, like Rogue One is so freaking good. Like, it is such a good movie. It hits so much differently, not being fascinated by those answers by episode 7, and that's all I care about in Star Wars is like what's happening with Rey and all this stuff. Like, just coming at it from just a fresh perspective and having watched so much more Star Wars stuff and just getting more engrossed in the franchise, playing a game like by Jedi Fallen Order that kind of is in the same time period. Like, dude, this movie is freaking awesome.
So, John, you had me worried there for a second, but happy to hear that ended nicely in terms of my fandom.
I was completely confused.
Well done. You kept us guessing the whole time. Why don't we go over to Tim then? Because John's at least thinking maybe they're on a similar wavelength. Tim, what do you think of Rogue One?
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, you'll never guess mine. Mine's so off the wall, different. So obviously you have the main thing for me. Phenomenal movie. Shortly after this, I played Fallen Order, like John said, which is a great movie, great game. Mm-hmm. But that's not the thing that got me. So what actually came out was Mads Mikkelsen. So does anyone know what came out recently that he was in? Was Death Stranding. Mm-hmm. And I was infatuated with him. I thought he played such a phenomenal character in Death Stranding, and I loved him. And I forgot that he was in this movie. So just like seeing his acting and seeing him in this movie, I was like, this is awesome. Like, this brought back so much memories for me. It really got me involved in it, which is kind of, like I said, a little off the wall, but just the whole overall thing. I just feel like it's such a different movie than a lot of the normal Star Wars movies. It's just a different tone. You know, I still have a little, complaints about the way it ends, but I like how it ends. I'm just not happy about it. You know what I mean? So
interesting. I think that's one of my favorite parts.
Oh, I love it. I love the ending. I'm like physically not happy. Like, I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean?
Okay. Sure.
So not that it's a bad thing. It just, makes me sad. So, because you really fall in love with the characters throughout the movie. And I absolutely love The Force is One with me. And I love that, like, that whole thing, just amazing. So I loved it though. But I really, just playing Death Stranding and Fallen Order before that, after seeing the movie and then watching that. And this was actually one of the only movies I saw in theaters. So
this did a lot, and it had a lot to establish in a short period of time. So they had to really introduce all these characters, new planets, and bring it back into a quick story while wrapping it up towards A New Hope, obviously. Mm-hmm. Tim, what's funny is Lauren loves Mads Mikkelsen, like huge fan. So that was a big attraction for her as well. And Mads, he was on fire, right? Death Stranding comes out 3 years after this movie. Doctor Strange comes out a month before this, so he's on fire. He's always been around, right? But like, in terms of geek culture, he was really he was in a different realm there. Played a great role in this movie, of course. JT, thoughts on Rogue One?
So back when I first watched it, I was really I was kind of on the same boat as John. Maybe not as interested because I maybe wasn't a franchise. The only thing I really thought of was like, the Vader scene, and I never really put and connected the dots. And I don't know, I haven't been on many of the episodes for this podcast, but my hottest take of all hot takes is I'm not really the biggest fan of the original trilogies. Like, I've grown to love them more because of the surrounding content that's come out since, right? Both post and pre original trilogy, and having had all that new content and things kind of surrounding it and watching it now, and probably, I've watched it a few times before this, right? But just getting those things in context, like I love. I mean, it brought a combo of nostalgia, but also freshness, right? Like, I felt like I knew who these characters were, maybe because, more like Tim said, kind of knew what was going to happen, right? There was an end game here. no pun intended. And like at the same time, it was still fresh. The characters were deep. I loved Cassian as a character, and they always have the witty droid that's always there, right? The K2 droid was K3.
No, you had it. Sorry.
No, it's K2.
K2.
He was just pulling
It's
your
K2.
reference. Yeah.
Don't mess me up. I thought it was right. Come on, man. No, but honestly, that like it is an extremely fresh take on the Star Wars franchise, but also made me love the original trilogy that much more.
Dude, we're going to talk about it in my notes in a little bit, but like we go through this and the sights and sounds are very, very much meant to call you right back to A New Hope. And I think for the most part, they really do a good job of that. So I think to jump off of what you're saying, JT, they do that while really finding a way to make it fresh, but it's got to incorporate, right? It's so close to A New Hope. So not an easy task. And this went through some extensive rewrites and reshoots closer to the release than they were probably comfortable with, but it ended up working out very well. And I think early on, maybe in the movie, some of that is kind of clear. There's so many cuts and you're going to like 5 different planets in like 3.5 minutes. Like there's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, it works. So in just a moment, we're going to talk about box office numbers. We're going to watch the trailer together, the first trailer for Rogue One. My 101 on the movie, you all know I love Star Wars so much, right? You've heard me say that probably? Maybe not. Anyway, so yeah, Rogue One, oh my gosh, coming off of the high that was The Force Awakens, by the way, the number 1 ranked movie in the Star Wars reviewed rankings. Yeah, so Rogue One, it was currently very true. Rogue One was so special because it was the next stepping stone. It was almost like the holdover till, like John said, that anticipation for episode 8. What was it going to be? All these answers that we were left hanging with after episode 7 and the excitement of how good a lot of people like John and I thought that movie was. It's like, I don't know. Rogue One was the perfect 2016 movie to wait and be kind of in the middle of the episode 7 and 8 sandwich. I love so much about the movie, whether it was the cast of characters. You've got a lot of primary characters there that work out really well. Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso is outstanding to me from a Star Wars standpoint. Of course, you tie in your Darth Vader. You get a really nice Ben Mendelsohn performance there as Director Krennic. You get some interesting CG choices like, oh man, John Krennic, you want to talk about?
Yeah, with Krennic, like obviously it's like the first time I've rewatched this movie since seeing Captain Marvel. I cannot stop hearing Talos. I can't. It's all I hear is Talos. And I'm like, dude, does he have the prosthetics on right now? Why does he sound like Talos so much right now? Crazy.
Krennic's definitely got a cat, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but just all of this was so special to me, and we'll talk about also our first viewing on this. But we'll talk about box office numbers here. 2016, this release is almost exactly a year after The Force Awakens. Unprecedented for Star Wars because the movies always came out 3 years apart. Back to back, you're getting them 2 almost in the same year. Insane. Well, did pretty damn well. This one, any guess as to where this one landed? Tim, why don't we start with you from a monetary standpoint? We're going to set the table with you.
What do we do? 800 million? I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess.
Okay. JT, let's go.
2016. Did it cross the billy?
You tell me.
I think it crossed the billy. I don't have a number, but it crossed the billy.
Okay, so $1 million and change. John.
$1 billion change, yeah.
$1 billion change.
Yeah.
1.1.
All right. This did $1,056,057,000.
Oh, come on. Price is right. I lose. Dang it.
Ooh.
So, yeah, this started the streak here for Star Wars. And, obviously we know Marvel was doing a lot of the same. So that did really well. This was the same thing kind of as John. Opening night, got to go see it the next day. And then I think
What's the budget, Joe? Did it say the budget on there?
No, I don't have that information.
Okay, gotcha.
At least 2,
I have no idea.
At least 200. My guess.
I would have to safely guess that. Yes.
Good profit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
These are.
That's all right.
Don't have to worry about
this was money in the bank. A very quick return on investment for the Star Wars franchise for Disney. Force Awakens does 2. This one, actually, Force Awakens. No, yeah, it was 2. This one was 1. Last Jedi we'll get to, but it did a lot. So there was a lot going on there. Solo, not so much. But hey,
But I was just going to bring
Chump
that up. Even so, Solo still made its money back and then some. It's like these movies don't have to worry about making their money back. They could do what we were talking about earlier with Thor, not release a trailer, be a bad movie, and still make enough to make their money back on these movies, just off brand recognition alone.
for sure, it
What a
feels like
luxury.
the $1 billion box office mark is like, okay, you don't release a trailer, you know nothing about the movie. It probably gets there if it's Star Wars or Marvel nowadays.
Yeah.
But where these really go crazy, like a Spider-Man No Way Home, or
Endgame.
go back to yes, or Force Awakens, is the hype. It's the third and fourth time people go to watch those movies because they can't get enough of it. Fun times as fans as always. But John, if you're ready, I'm going to pass it over to you so we can just watch this trailer together.
Let's do it. You guys got it ready? Good to go?
I'm
Yes, sir.
ready.
All right. 1 second. Where is... Here. All right. Go for it.
State your name for the record.
Jin Urso.
Forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, resisting arrest.
On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
We have a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
What will you do when they catch you? What will you do if they break you? If you continue to fight? What will you become?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so a couple of takeaways from that. So first of all, the reshoots are very evident. You can see that conversation with Mon Mothma was not the conversation that we got, and that wasn't trailer trickery. Like they reshot that.
Dude, real quick. So she says I rebel there, and I just was like, oh my gosh, it's so perfect. Like Geekiverse, we made a shirt out of it, and it never made the
She
movie.
never said it.
No.
It's so funny.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
reshoots definitely evident. Another thing that's evident is like the music changed for sure. So like the part of the issues with the production of this movie were the fact that who did the original score? It wasn't John Williams. Who did the original score?
So from the final product that we saw,
that's
it was.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was Michael Giacchino. His name is. He's done.
Giacchino.
J.J. Abrams calls him that, and it was kind of a joke.
Got it.
Anyway,
Sure.
he does tons of movies. Like Google it; it's unreal.
He did Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you are correct.
Doctor Strange, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Before he came in late. I cannot recall who did it. They had another composer, and something didn't work out.
Yeah. So what the reshoots were the issue. So they had the movie scored and everything like that, and they did so many reshoots that the original composer could not come back to rescore the movie. So they had to go with Michael Giacchino, and he was just rapping on Doctor Strange, so he had to do all of the music in like 2.5 weeks or something stupid like that. I forget about it. I was just reading into it. It was like ridiculous. He had to score this movie in like a really, really crunch period of time. That being said, I thought the music in this movie is fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. I remember some of the like the initial takes from it. It's like, oh yeah, it's not John Williams. Like there's a difference there. I don't know. I thought Giacchino did a really good job. But just based on this trailer, you can tell that there was a difference between the score, because that was not the vibe we got from his score in this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Obviously, the first non-John Williams movie here, so that's so I don't want to say sensitive, but like it's sensitive material to pass off to someone else. And John, thank you for sharing that. Totally forgot any of that happened. with him coming in, but like he did a pretty good
Dude,
job.
I would tell you right now, like if you had somebody watch this movie and didn't tell them that John Williams didn't score it, and be like, how did John Williams do it? The first spin-off movie of Star Wars. Like, oh yeah, they would say like, oh yeah, what an interesting, what a good score from John Williams. What a different take. I thought it was such a really, really good, and it's very clearly a spin-off. Like everything is different. Everything's a different. It's either minor when it shouldn't be, or it's major when it shouldn't be. It's just different, right? But I thought that he did a great job. Like even just the Rogue One title scene when they hit that high note, like that's just a really, really cool role. Like that's a really cool take on like the Star Wars. I don't know. I thought it was
I'm with
awesome.
you. I was a traditionalist at first, and I was like, it's fine, but it grew on me quickly after that. And you're right. When that Rogue One logo shows, that's such a high point.
Yeah.
But he nails it where it counts, right? I don't want to say there's filler material, but it's to me, it's definitely not John Williams, and that's not to say that it's not as good. Really, it's different, and that's fine. It's an anthology movie. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The other thing Michael's done, so he worked with J.J. Abrams on the Star Trek trilogy. Flashes of that come out from time to time if you saw those movies. Anyway, I know we got off a little bit there. Talking back to the trailer, Tim, what did you think of what we just saw there?
I liked it. I like the mood it sets. I think it's I love when you slowly get like an escalating trend throughout the movie. Like it starts slow and then it's like you start to see all the stuff that goes down throughout the movie.
Right.
I just love when a trailer does that because I feel like it's such a good build up.
I do have one more big note about the trailer when you're done, Tim. I don't want to lose it.
But yeah, that's my big thing. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it set the trend of the movie, and I kind of like how they did it. So
this was the
yeah.
So the first thing I wanted to say that I forgot about because we went into the music, that freaking siren. I remember when that teaser first came out, everyone was like, "What are they thinking?" It's annoying. Like it's not a good choice. Like it's very loud and like it starts to fade away. Okay, all right, it's fading away, and they bring it right back up. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That siren is a little weird, totally. And like I get it, it makes sense for like the panic, but like it's too loud.
Yeah, maybe tone it down just a little, make it a background noise and not like overpowering everything.
Yeah, it's bad.
Definitely another Star Wars callback, but I see your point there.
JC. For sure.
I mean, it's kind of with you guys. Like, it doesn't really fit what the movie ended up being to a T. But I remember watching it at first, and it was like, it was the first really like ambitious endeavor that they were going outside of trilogy, right? It was like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at it. It looked cool. The score was decent, all that, but I wasn't too hyped, honestly. And it was nothing against the trailer itself and how it was. But there, it took me a bit to get there. You know what I mean? It took more than just a teaser to kind of push me to that point.
I don't think this movie hooks in a lot of non-Star Wars fans.
Yeah, so exactly that, right? So back in this came out early 2016. The trailer came out
late. Oh, trailer. Sorry, I don't know.
Trailer was April, and the movie was December of 2016.
So I mean, back in 2016, I really started getting into Star Wars like 2018. Like as far as like digging deep the way I do with Marvel, right? So I was really into it. So again, I'm one of those guys, Joe. Like they didn't hook me because they couldn't. Mm-hmm. Like there was nothing outside of the trilogies or maybe a little Clone Wars that I watched back in the day that was really in. So yeah, it was good. Looking back now, I'm like, it doesn't really match the movie, but it's good. Yeah. Good trailer. Good trailer.
So one, it's funny because it's not called Star Wars, right? It's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's the long title. When I knew that, I wouldn't say that was a problem by any means, but when I knew like non-mega fans were like, what is this movie? This looks interesting, and didn't necessarily know that it was totally tied to Star Wars. My in-laws were like, Josiah, did you hear about that new space movie, Rogue One? Knowing me for about, I don't know, 13 years at this point, and knowing that I was obsessed with Star Wars, I laughed. I was like, yes, it's a Star Wars movie. Of course I know about it. Like I've somehow seen it 3 times already. Like it was funny. But
that's funny.
Yeah. It was nice because that kind of established the tone for what we thought were going to be more anthology movies, but we'll get into that down the road. So do you remember your first viewing of this? I know we kind of sort of talked about it a little bit, but if we could just bring it back here. John, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I kind of already talked about it, but yeah, opening night, I saw it. I forget who I was with. I know I saw it the next day with my wife, then probably girlfriend. and another couple. We saw it the next day, but I forget who I went. I might have.
But you went with your wife and then also the girlfriend you had?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
That's what it was. I may have soloed that one, to be honest. I don't know if I was with anybody, but impressions are the same. It was just like, yeah, this is good. Like, this is a fun Star Wars movie, and I get like they're calling back to the original trilogy, and like it's very clearly a lead in right to A New Hope. And, like, this is fun, but I want more of Rey and Kylo Ren right now.
Tim, what was the first watch? It was in
Only
theaters.
movie I've seen in theaters. Yeah. So
Ever, dude? That's
my
nuts.
buddies. Yeah. With my wife and my girlfriend
Next to me for Spider-Man. Oh my gosh!
You said this
No
twice
popcorn,
already. Never.
No,
once.
but yeah, I saw
Controversy.
it in person. Only Star Wars movie I've seen in person, so
Got
in the
it.
movie theater. So, I'm hoping one day I get a chance to watch another one in person. In the
Oh,
movie
you
You
will.
will.
You will have chances.
See.
Don't worry.
We'll see. All this stuff's coming on Disney Plus.
Don't you worry.
So.
This guy, JT, first viewing. What can you tell me?
Definitely watched it, opening weekend or whatever. And again, same thing. I wasn't as hyped to watch it. I know my little brother was. He's been so deep. Like he's his growing up series to watch was Star Wars: The Clone Wars. So he was into Star Wars since he was a kid. So he was all hyped about it. But I feel bad for like being like not enthusiastic for like my past me, right? But it just wasn't. It wasn't that for me. It became that for me now. Like. Having the context around it, but it was normal. Like I didn't go opening night. I did go. I think I went that Saturday after it was out. So
yeah.
It is. I don't know. I feel like I want to go back and say you're stupid. 2016 John, but that's just where I'm at.
Just to kind of talk more about where I'm at with it, like compared to from now to where I was then. I was higher on it back then than I'm thinking of. Like just because I've come so far on it, I like this rewatch was a game changer for me. Like I really loved the movie and like it made a huge impact on me. But back then, I remember walking out of the movie being like, oh my God, I can't believe they showed Vader and Leia. Like that was so cool. Like it leads right into A New Hope. Like I remember my impressions being like really good about it. But then, the more it said it, I'm like, that was fun. But like, where's episode 8? That was kind of more where I was at. I wasn't down on it by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't, it just.
Yeah. And so I guess down on it is kind of the wrong word. It wasn't just as hype as anything else, right? But my thing is, and I alluded to it earlier too, like I walked out just talking about the Vader scene. They did it. I remember specifically talking about like, give me rated R Vader, give me something like, hey, Vader hunting down. Like I want a series movie. I've said this since then, and I even said it before that. And I think everybody around Star Wars lore has been saying they want it since. And I think we'll probably get it more with Kenobi, but like that's all I cared about out of that back
when
then.
it first came out.
Now, I appreciate everything surrounding it because having watched the series and things like that, or at least having that context. But it just wasn't. I get back then. I think when I watched it, I gave it like a B. It wasn't anything more than that to me.
Sounds right.
That's funny that you mentioned kind of like that perspective and like only thinking about Vader, because going into this rewatch, I remember thinking like a couple of days ago, like, man, I'm excited to watch this, but like I really wish they leaned into Vader more. I really wish that the only scene that we got from Vader wasn't that last hallway scene. I totally forgot that Vader was in this movie a few more times. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. And then I'm rewatching this, and like he just and Krennic just shows up there at Vader's palace, and I'm just like, oh shit, yeah. I'm like, shit, I forgot they did this. Like this is sick. What was I talking? My perspective was totally skewed by just where I was in my Star Wars fandom at that point. So going back and watching, like, no, they gave us Vader like 3 times in this movie. Like that's actually kind of nuts. Like,
and it's funny you say that. I remember him being in it multiple times, but I did not like. Again, back then, I didn't connect Fortress Vader to now. So when I watched it, I'm like, is that Fortress Vader? No, and like I was kind of hyped about it watching it now.
Right,
and,
yeah. So like,
with
our fandom has evolved a little bit, and so it's like, yeah, again, my walk away from that movie, I'm like, we got Vader once. That's wild. I mean, like, really cool scene, but like, I wish Disney would have leaned into it more. No, he was in it a few times. Like, it was.
See, Josiah, you're making us fall more in love with Star Wars. This is all because of you.
I'm just sitting here, No, I think JT's right. Yeah, better late than never. It's all good.
Josiah did it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get more into Vader in a little bit here. I definitely remember that opening night, and not quite, I think, the hype level of Force Awakens. It's not ever going to be like that, right? But had the whole row, the theater's packed. Much like I bought a few rows accidentally for Doctor Strange. Sorry if you couldn't get your hands on tickets. But that's a story for another time. We Lauren sitting next to me is always at this, and I just remember just going so crazy excited, especially in those Vader moments or right at the end. There's so much happening in the hype that the Death Star is showing up. It's Vader, it's Leia. Oh my gosh, what did I just witness? And by the way, at that point, Carrie Fisher had passed away that week, so there was a really emotional aspect to seeing a version of Princess Leia in that movie, and the one that we all fell in love with to start as Star Wars fans. So super exciting. I just remember all of that going on, and I think I went the next day, and I went at least one more time. So I probably saw it 3 times in theaters. One really cool viewing that is a little bit unorthodox. So in I want to say May 2017, Lauren and I went on a cruise with a bunch of people. And the one night, so they're always showing a movie on the back of the boat. It's usually not something I would necessarily go and get out of my way to go watch. But I'll tell you what, the one night Rogue One was playing, and I was like, I have to leave what I'm doing. It was like 10 o'clock, so it wasn't like crazy early. But I'm like, I got to go get a coffee, and I got to go and sit and watch this. And I'm pretty sure I was the only one, but it was cool as hell.
That sounds awesome.
I'm looking up. There's nothing but stars, and I'm in the middle of the ocean, and I'm watching Rogue One on the biggest screen outside of a movie theater that I've ever been witness to. What a cool memory, just to be there and be like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Just all the moments. What a nice memory that was.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, for sure. How many times have we seen this thing? I think it's not quite as many as some of the other crazy numbers I've listed off. I feel like this is never my go-to have on in the background sort of movie. I watch it during these rewatches and not many other times. But for me, probably I'm close to the 10 mark, I would say. John?
I'd probably go, I think 4 might be it. I think the first 2 theater viewings, the Blu-ray viewing, and then this one. I mean, I'm sure I've turned it on before. I'm sure I have. But meaningful viewings, I mean, we'll go 4 to 6 just to be safe, but could be 4.
JC, how many times?
The theater, one time when I did my rewatch on my own during the pandemic, and now 3. That's it.
Good stuff. Tim?
I'm at 3 as well. So
all right, I like it. Let's jump into my notes here. Not going to drag this out as much as I normally do. I'm sorry, guys. I know I ramble. If I'm going too far, if you got something to say, just cut me off. So this one starts right off the bat. It was funny in the lead up. How's this going to start? They're saying there's no crawl. What does that look like in the beginning? So we're not getting our beloved yellow text telling us what's happening. Interesting. We get still the blue a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But I love the way that it cuts in. Just a big, quick, big musical note. It catches you up. You got the flute in the background, and away we go. It worked really well, even despite having 7 movies that previously had what is now the famous crawl. So the idea for Rogue One came from John Knoll, who has been like the visual effects supervisor on a lot of the Star Wars movies. His idea basically came from, hey, that first line in the crawl for A New Hope, what if we made that a movie where it talks about the Rebel Alliance's big first victory against the Empire? I think that's really cool that someone who's not traditionally a writer or at the top of the food chain when it comes to making these decisions was like, hey, what if we did this? And then they kind of conceptualized and went away with the story.
Wasn't there a project that was pitched for that was before? Like, wasn't there like a Star Wars show that was supposed to be even before the Disney purchase? I feel like there was, right?
There was. I could be mistaken. Maybe there was 1 or 2, but I thought it was surrounding 1313 and Bounty Hunters, much like the game was supposed to be.
Maybe there's a name for it. I forget the title of it. If you're seeing this at home or if you're live in the chat, let us know. But yeah, there was like a pitched Star Wars show that was supposed to come out, and this was pitched for one of the episodes. That's when he originally pitched it as to be an episode of this show. But it was pre-Disney, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm happy that carried over, obviously, because a lot of things did not when Disney took over. Saw Gerrera, first character from the animated series to make the big screen jump, which is really cool. And at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless. We're just starting with this stuff, right? Really cool. And of course, Forrest Whitaker, Does
And
a great job.
that's one of those things where it's like I didn't appreciate that at all. I hadn't watched the Clone Wars at all at that point, so I didn't know who Saw Gerrera was, and like so much of this imagery and some of these characters, like these callbacks to deep Star Wars lore, it just went over my head. I'm like, okay, this is a new character, Forrest Whitaker. I know him, like that's cool. And then like after the fact, I found out that he was established in an animated series, and that's the kind of stuff that I appreciate watching more. I appreciate more not watching it after seeing all the stuff I have and playing Fallen Order and watching the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
for sure. He was a part of a popular arc in the Clone Wars. So if you were in that position and you saw those and you got into Rogue One, that was kind of exciting. But I remember the lead up to it, and then we actually get to Rogue One, and this movie's just full of Easter eggs. Like it is fan service to a T. All this stuff in the background, which we'll go through. We get a lot of new cool stormtroopers in this movie. The Death Troopers look awesome.
Yep.
The shore troopers, which are the ones we see towards the end of the movie, like there's some really cool designs going on here outside of seeing the iconic original stormtroopers on screen. Gotta love Jin's stormtrooper doll, by the way.
Yeah,
that's just
really
sitting
cool.
there that they pick up.
Yeah.
So the Star Wars Visual Dictionary she called it Stormy. Makes sense. When we're going around in the planets early on, this is the first time in Star Wars movies that we see text on screen that tells us. So, John, talk about that real quick. Hop into all these planets in a short period of time. Some recognizable, some brand new. Like, was it too much? Was it quick? Was it just right?
It's just so helpful. It's like we talked about it with I think maybe episode 7. I think that was when I mentioned that. Like, I just wish that every time you cut to a planet, you had a little title down there. It's just helpful. Like, I know they do a good job of giving context, like in conversations and stuff like that. But sometimes it jumps around, especially in this movie. They jump around quite a bit. But I will also say that this movie. Watch those cuts to the planets. It is so different than anything we see in Star Wars. Like it looks so different. It almost looks more Guardians of the Galaxy. Title alone, like no title aside, like the visuals and like the fidelity and the color contrast and like just the way they present these planets in deep space looks so much different than anything we see in Star Wars. And it's really cool.
I agree, man. I think like it's perfect because it obviously fits the brand, if you will, the genre, but like it is different. It separates itself.
Yeah,
I feel like that was from
I don't know what it is, but like it's almost like it's more colorful and you're getting more detail in the planet when you're cutting in.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. The one planet's called Wobani, which is a nice little scrambling of Obi-Wan, so that's a nice homage there. Mon Mothma. So Genevieve O'Reilly, we've talked about it before. She came back to reprise this character because her role from episode 3 got cut. I love that stuff. I love that she got this chance to get into the movie 11 years later. And of course, Mon Mothma is such an important part of the rebellion. How could you not have her in there? Speaking of which, Bail Organa. That was pretty freaking cool, right?
Awesome. He just walked out of the shadows. So cool.
Whew, what a nice moment. You knew he was going to be there, but when it happened, it happened. All right, let's get this over with. K2SO. John,
Fine.
let's go.
It's not offensive. He's not terrible, but I just don't get the which I think is your opinion. K2 is my favorite droid. I don't get it. Like he's sassy and sarcastic, and that's funny, but he's like too human-like for me to care about him.
I was literally gonna say the thing. I 100% agree with that.
He's too human.
He seems like a person.
Yes,
like he just acts like a person.
He's
which is
it's
like
fine.
I sometimes get it, but like it just feels off when every other everyone else feels like a droid. Like why is this one so different than all the other ones?
It's fine. I think that some of his lines are funny.
They tell you, but yeah.
Some of his lines. Yeah, exactly.
Why haven't they done that before? Why is that the first time?
No.
Because we only had C-3PO and R2-D2 before that on the big screen.
Totally fine. I get it. It's just he's not as fun for me. Some of his lines work. Some of those quips are good. Some of them are like, okay, like I get it. You're really quippy. I get it. He's fine.
It's fine. I loved it. Alan Tudyk nails it. I think he did a great job. I love that character. I think it fits in a lot of ways. What's funny is Alan Tudyk was telling a story at Star Wars Celebration one time, and he was talking to Anthony Daniels. So Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO, was like giving him pointers on like, hey, this is how the fans are, and blah blah blah. So after the reaction to the movie, where most people really liked K2SO, I guess they were at like an awards show, and Alan is talking with Anthony Daniels. And Anthony Daniels comes up to him and basically like says, F off. And it was kind of funny because like C-3PO was around for 20 or 30 years at that point, and then, you know, Alan Tudyk comes around and he's a fan favorite.
I guess to readjust my perspective on it, to explain it more, I think K2 is perfect totally for this movie. Like, that is the perfect droid for this movie. I just wouldn't say that I like him any more than an R2 or a BB-8 or a BD-1 or, you know, any of that, you know? Like, K2 works great in this movie, but he doesn't go toe-to-toe when it comes to... He's more of a human character than he is a droid in my eyes. So it's like,
better him or CP3O?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would love to see K2 just absolutely crush C-3PO. Just like take him, like just take that red arm, just smash him with it.
You may not recognize me. My arm is red.
I like all the K2 stuff, even like that he can fire a blaster or he comes and saves the day with the grenade. Like all of that just works for me.
It all works. It all works for me too. I like it, but it doesn't feel like a droid, which is, I guess, fine. It's fine. He's just like another human character. It doesn't feel like a droid for me. It's yeah.
He was very overpowered.
I don't feel like that would hang up if that was my perspective, but hey, to each their own.
For a droid.
It doesn't. Yeah.
That's fine. The Tarkin reveal. What do we think about Grand Moff Tarkin in this movie?
Yikes. 2022 yikes. 2022 yikes. It's fine. Like back then, mind blown. That was one of the ones where like I was enough of a Star Wars fan back then to be like, holy shit, we're not just seeing Tarkin in a shadow. Like he is a character in this movie. That was very cool. You know, now CG has it's shown itself. I still love that they did it. I'm not one to say don't do it just because the technology is not there and it might not hold up. I'm glad they did it. Now, yikes. Overall, like as a plot point, as a character in this movie, I love it.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
I can't believe it happened.
Agreed.
First of all,
yeah.
I like that's one of the most distinct memories I have of the first time I saw this was Krennic coming up to talk to him, and I thought it would be kind of a quick one-off, and I thought we got the reflection in the glass. I was like,
dude,
oh shit,
yes.
that's insane.
And
Me too. Not 2 seconds later, he turns around, and I was like,
fully lit. Yes, I remember that same thought. I'm like, okay, we're gonna see. Okay, this is him. We're gonna see his back. We're gonna see his shadow. Holy shit, we see his face in a reflection. Tarkin turns around and he's just a character.
What an experiment this was for a number of reasons, right? You put this in an anthology movie, not one of the mainline entries, which is, it makes sense. Of course, it makes sense to do it with a character like Tarkin, who's so memorable from the first movie. But how about that voice acting from the stand-in? That's pretty good work there.
Incredible.
Like the way he says simultaneous. That was the point where I was like, oh my gosh. Or later in the movie, when he says, you may fire when ready. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like he nailed it, dude.
How many times did he repeat that line in front of the mirror?
You may fire when ready. Yeah, he probably did it 10,000 times. He nailed it. I love that they did that. It's not obviously 2022 the best CG we've ever seen. I think it's better than some we've seen to this point, but it's like it's not so offensive to me. Like I'm like, okay, I look back at this movie, it works. Maybe talk to me again in 10 years. Agreed.
100% agreed. It's I think about it. It takes me out of it for a second where I think about it, but then I'm just like I accept it. Like I'm in.
Let's jump real quick to Princess Leia. I know that's at the end of the movie, but like in contrast, what do we think about her version of what was a generated character?
This CJ was way better, I think.
Yeah.
See, I think it's worse.
I do too.
So
I thought it was better.
On the big screen.
I think you could flip a coin too.
Right. On the big screen, I thought it was better. And I don't know if it's because I was just so hyped, like, holy crap, they're doing this? Like, they're actually doing this? Because, again, they give you that same tease. They show you just her back, and she's standing in such a way, it's like, all right, she's not going to turn around. She looks like a freaking mannequin. But she turns around, and we get a little scene there.
It's a mannequin.
Yeah. But watching it today, I'm like, it doesn't look as good as I remember it. But, again, I'm glad they did it.
Same. And, I really thought the movie was going to end there with not seeing her, even though we just went through the whole thing with Tarkin.
Yeah.
And it was fine. And I loved the line with Hope. Of course, that's so fitting and special. And I think it also hit even harder than it would have normally because, again, Carrie Fisher passed away like days before that premiere. So like that was really, it was tough as a longtime fan to see, but it really ramped up the emotion. So again, really happy they did it because it's only gotten better year by year in a quick amount of time.
For sure.
Awesome. And, we see it in Star Wars, we see it in Marvel, even to stuff I can't talk about for episode 9, but I will in a few weeks. Ponda Baba. So the guy, him and the guy from the bar in A New Hope that Kenobi slices the arm off of.
Yeah.
We see them there on Jeddah. This was Gareth Edwards, who directed the movie, his one cameo regret. He's like, that's the one that felt really forced to me.
I get it.
that.
I do too, but at the same time, it's such a throwaway. Like, who cares? Like, these people mean nothing. Of course, they could be there. You know,
they're never ever going to make a cameo again, right? It's got to be here or nowhere.
Yeah, why not? Why not just give a small? You know, that's more of it's like this is just fan service. Like, hey, this is fan service. Like you've seen A New Hope. Like, this is for you. Like, who cares? They're not real characters.
Yeah.
So the moment where K2 has Cassian and Jyn as prisoners, that slap there is totally ad-libbed by Alan Tudyk. That was not scripted, and Diego Luna, who plays Cassian, if you look closely, he's like this, and he's actually smiling up at Alan because he's trying not to laugh.
I didn't realize Alan Tudyk did mocap for that. Huh.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
He's stood in for the whole movie.
If not, he did most of it.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
The outfit, take a look at it. The outfit's kind of funny because they've got a really long neck, right? Because he's tall.
Yeah.
So that was the stand-in point for him. But love that sequence. How about Chirrut Imwe as a character?
Very cool.
By Donnie Yen. What a unique character. He's not a Jedi.
Nope.
He believes in the Force. It's kind of a religion. It's not, right? But like, man, that sequence with the stormtroopers. And I know we can all agree the stormtroopers' armor is totally useless. But that's a really, really cool sequence. Like, I love that.
He's got a few in this movie. I think he's
got a few for sure. So Galen Erso plants the trap that is kind of there to set the fuse to unravel the Death Star. What a nice plot point that is. In the previous Star Wars canon, for what it's worth, there was another architect on it, and it was not on purpose. Like, there's novels and comics around it, but basically he accidentally had this flaw in the Death Star, and then the Emperor, like, of course, tortures him after as we get past A New Hope. But what an interesting contrast, and it just makes sense, right? To put that there.
Yeah, they did a good job telling that story. I remember being very conflicted on that, whether or not, like, I thought it. We've talked about this privately before. Like, you know, does some of this this newer content that takes place before the original trilogy, does it sour what we got with the original trilogy? I was conflicted for a little while. I'm like,
I see that
for a little while. I'm like, does that make sense? Like, do I want that? Do I want the Death Star fault to be intentional? Because, like, that movie, it very clearly wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be something that the Rebel Alliance just stumbled upon. You know, like, that was their win. And this, again, when I first was pondering this, I'm like, oh, that kind of takes away from this being their win, their discovery. Like, they found this flaw in the Death Star, but no, it was actually planted there by an engineer. Again, now that I watch it, now that it sits more, I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. Like, you gave me an awesome story as to why that makes sense, and, like, you gave me a great prequel to A New Hope. I'm totally for it.
I'm with you there, where I was conflicted at first, especially that first screen viewing, because I was like, it felt like this almost was like part of the reshoots where he's telling you as opposed to showing you, and it's like that's a long sequence of him talking there. Another way I felt where it was like, okay, they're trying to catch us up way too fast, is when Jyn is talking to the rebel leaders for the first time. She talks about Saw Gerrera, and she throws like 3 or 4 lines together in like 10 seconds that are super quick about her history with him. And it's like, oh my gosh, they're throwing so much at you to try to catch you up here. Who knows how much of that was, intended or not.
Right.
The sequence of visuals from the Death Star blasting Jeddah City. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. We get the blast. We see what it's like from the planet and how it's kind of collapsing on itself. Previously, obviously, we only get Alderaan. Yeah, it's an explosion, but here we get a little bit more perspective from the planet there.
Very cool to see that the Death Star can tone it down and just destroy a city. Like, would they call it fire it with one capacitor or one? What was the phrase they used? I forgot what it was. But like, it was sweet just to see that, like, that we can just use like one of our engines here and we can just take out a city, not the whole planet. Like, that was sweet.
For sure, and obviously that makes sense with A New Hope, right? Because that was the first time where they were really gonna test that weapon out, and of course they're going to do it on Alderaan. Guys, Mustafar, holy crap, we get Vader's castle, the Ralph McQuarrie design from the late 70s. This comes to fruition when we arrive there. The first time I'm seeing this, I'm crapping my pants. I can't believe this is happening, and I'm about to get my moment with Darth Vader back on screen. What a sequence that is with him and Krennic. James Earl Jones, by the way. You can hear the age, right? But like still, he's got that oomph behind him to a degree.
That's another one where I'm like, that hit for me because I'm seeing Darth Vader when I first saw this movie. But now that I've seen that castle, I've read Charles Soule's Darth Vader run, and I know I've seen how that fortress has been made. You know, like that stuff hits so much different when I'm watching this movie in 2022.
It is special. I love the line back and forth there. And of course, you know, Darth Vader's got to be punny and tells him not to choke on his aspirations.
Really
because
good.
That's the Darth Vader that we know, right? Very well written.
I will say that this is one of like the only times too that like I can, not the only times, but like I try to do this now when I see Darth Vader on screen, and it's easier, I guess, now that this was a Darth Vader shot in 2015, 16, whatever it was, to try to imagine Anakin Skywalker saying those words. Like, try to imagine Anakin being the one behind that mask with like his voice altered. And it, for some reason, in this sequence when he's talking to Krennic, I'm like, okay, I can see Anakin saying this. I can see Hayden Christensen's Anakin delivering these lines with that voice altered. You know,
that's interesting. I've got to try to get there a little more and see through that lens. Because that's just another viewpoint. You know,
I forced myself to because I had an issue with that. Like coming out, like I love this. I love Anakin. Like I understand what's going on here, and Vader's really cool. But like, there's just always the disconnect. It's like those aren't the same people to me at all. So this was the first time I was like, all right, I can see it.
But I think that's intended though, John. You know what I mean?
Like, of course.
Like I think
it should feel that way.
It should feel that way because Vader himself talks about Anakin Skywalker, right? Like it's all throughout any of the canon.
Oh, no.
Specifically speaks as like a second person. So
right, yeah, for sure.
To do that. I think that's why it's hard for a lot of people to do that, though, to put that connection there. You know what I mean?
It makes sense, but
no, for sure, it makes sense.
We just rewatched the prequels, and like I think a lot of Hayden Christensen's and Anakin's line delivery can be chalked up to the fact that they're trying to make him sound like he could eventually sound like James Earl Jones. Like they're trying to make him sound like he enunciates his words in that way, and almost like a theatrical type, type presentation. So
right.
It eventually it does all tie together pretty well.
And I think we're gonna see that tie up more in Kenobi too. You're gonna see exactly what you're talking about.
I can't wait for that.
Little more than a month. Here we go. With the tie-in with Vader's line there too, it's just perfect, right? Because in A New Hope, which is probably just really a few days later from the time frame there. He's got the line in the boardroom where he says, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." That's the Darth Vader. He's sarcastic. He's got that edge to him. I love how they tie that in. Also, the aide that comes into the room when he's in the Bacta tank, that is one of the same aides, obviously not actors, but from Return of the Jedi. You see those kind of older guys who are with the Emperor on the second
robe,
Death Star. Exactly. Fun fact, it's the first movie in Star Wars to have the title spoken directly in it. So they say Rogue One a number of times, obviously. I like the line from K2 where he says, "I'll be there for you, Jin," because Cassian said I had to.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
A lot of Easter eggs here, including as you hear over the speaker at the Rebel base on Yavin, they're calling for General Syndulla, which is Hera Syndulla from the Rebel series, which JT has just gotten into, which is super exciting. You also see Chopper actually floating around in the Rebel base, which is really cool. I want to say the Ghost also makes an appearance. I can't recall if it did or not. I missed it if it did last night, but we'll have to look it up. The conversation between Mon Mothma and Bail Organa when they're talking about basically Bail's going to go talk to Princess Leia and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Gives me goosebumps. We know what happens, but still special to see.
Yeah, that whole interaction, like I trust her with my life. Like that was really cool.
Oh, so special. Of course, hurts a little bit because he's heading back to Alderaan. So
rip.
That's awkward.
Big rip.
I feel like I've talked about this on the show before. I'm sorry if I have. The name Scarif as a planet. It comes from Gareth Edwards is the director of the movie. He was at Starbucks and he gave his name Gareth, but they heard Scarif, so they wrote Scarif on a cup. And he's like, "I'm using that as a planet in my new Star Wars movie."
That's amazing.
Love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Unbelievable.
While we're here, I will say, like, number one, unequivocally, Scarif is my favorite planet in Star Wars lore. Scarif is my number one. It's so freaking cool. Like, it's like the deep blue waters, the sandy beaches. Like, it looks so dope. And the Scarif troopers, what'd you call them before?
Shore troopers.
Shore troopers. I've seen them referred to as Scarif troopers, but shore troopers is new to me. But that brown armor is just like so perfect. That Scarif it's my number one for sure.
Star Wars does this with their like planets, right? It's one ecosystem almost. You might as well have a beach if you're gonna have a planet full of it. So,
right. Yeah, for sure. And I think that Rogue One in general just does like a really good job with like differentiating their planets. I think it's the most variation we get planet to planet in any Star Wars movie, probably
the most in quantity too. Like there's a lot happening for sure. Different environments. You got like the Wobani, which is like that. It looks like a cold planet, right? It's not snowy, but it's muddy. It's wet. Right. You get Scarif, obviously. You see
Yavin.
You get Yavin. There's a lot for sure in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good job for sure there. I've got a bad feeling about this set in every Star Wars movie. We almost get the full line.
Yep.
Almost get the full line. Kay gets cut off there. What a nice little inside joke that is, right? One of the rebel aliens, again, I never knew this until last night because, again, I had subtitles on. That's kind of how I have to watch TV these days. One of the aliens who's shooting one of the guns on Scarif screams Karabast. It doesn't sound like Karabast, but it is, and that's something that Zeb says constantly in the Star Wars Rebels series. So another nice callback there. How do we feel about the footage of the old pilots from A New Hope in the X-Wings?
I love it so much. I think it's such a great touch, and it's like you can tell enough where it's just like a really, really nice touch.
I totally agree. And seeing him at first was jarring. I'm like, wait a second, but it's I would say a relatively easy thing to match up because they're all the same viewpoint with the new pilots, right? Like. Yeah. That's how it's gonna go. So you can kind of change that color palette where needed.
It's funny because like the only thing different is the people, and it's like, man, people looked different back then. Like people had different facial structures back in the 1970s. Like it's just that's the only difference.
They clearly look like they're from the 70s. It's funny to say that.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but like we evolve, right?
It's totally true. Of course, during the X-Wing battle, Red 5 dies. We know Luke Skywalker becomes Red 5 as we get to A New Hope. They're talking about the projects when Jyn and Cassian are trying to fish out what's going on with the plans.
Black Saber.
Project Darksaber, right?
They said Black Saber in this movie.
Black Saber?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also hyperspace tracking, which however you feel about The Last Jedi,
they did it. That's
what hyperspace tracking is. They throw that little seed in there because, that was going to be a hot topic of conversation as we'll talk about next episode. Is there a death that hits you hardest in this movie? Pretty much all of our main characters are gunned down one by one in different times in that last third of the movie. Is there any one that really just resonated or stuck out with you or made you feel more emotional than the others? John,
Absolutely.
You got an answer?
And you'll be surprised. It's K2.
I was surprised.
Yeah, you guys making it sound like I don't like K2. I just think he's the worst droid. He's a good character, and he's almost a human character. You're right. K2 for me. That's the one where it's like, damn, like this guy's been ride or die. He's here. He's taking it for the team. He's the first to get gunned down for the most part. Like that's the one that hits me every time.
I'm actually with you. It was hard seeing that character go away in the way that he did because he's kind of a jerk almost that doesn't care, right? But then he bonds with Jyn as time goes on, and Cassian obviously has a big connection with him. So interesting. Tim, any different answer? Any answer?
Yeah, mine was Mads. And the part that got me is it's kind of like one of those things in life where you sometimes can't say everything you want to say, and right before he dies, he kind of gives a line of, "I have so much to tell you."
That's such a brutal line. That's such a brutal line.
And it's like, to me, I was like, oh, that's not what you wanted to hear, and like it was tough to watch as a dad. You know what I mean? So it hit a little different.
I totally agree. JT, any death?
Sure, for sure. Is that how you pronounce it? Chirrut?
Yep.
Chirrut, yeah. Chirrut was awesome. That's
Chirrut. Well, I mean,
that's my number two.
It's obviously my number one character too, as far as the whole movie. But I think it falls back Jedi-esque, right? And I always favor towards Force users and Jedi as a whole character. He was awesome. I mean, I would call him more of like a Force user that just never became. In that way, he kind of had
He
that
was
vibe.
he was somebody who was a Force user but wasn't Force sensitive. You know,
Right. It was just odd, but cool, right? I think it was perfect
for sure.
Very unique.
It was a good fit.
Star Wars, for
Right.
sure. Yeah, that's a great one. And Baze, right? Baze Malbus, who they're buddy, and the way he kind of believes at the end after Chirrut says, find the Force and you'll find me. That's very special. That was emotional too. And then even you get to Jyn and Cassian on the beach, and that's tough because they know at that point it's over. There's nothing that's going to happen. Of course, there's the cliche line that her dad would be proud of her, but that's an important line too. And it seems like there's resolution and almost acceptance in their eyes when they both go and see that horizon coming towards them.
Want to know what I love about that scene
John,
so much?
I'm showing you is on mute on my end.
The buttons crossed over. Want to know what's great about that scene about Jyn and Cassian? Tim, can you hear me?
Yes.
Tim, take your headphones off till my hand is down.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah,
I love that they were so conservative. They didn't make them kiss. They didn't make them kiss.
Dude,
like we got. They had to force that in episode 9. They had to force the kiss, but they were so conservative and it worked so well. And the hand's going down. That's it. All I'm saying. Tim can come back.
Dude,
Come on
you
back,
are
Tim.
spot on with that, John. I won't talk about spoilers.
He doesn't realize my hand's down. Tim, you can come back.
So
the hand's down, Tim. You can come back.
Wait,
you're allowed.
So we're back. Back?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, we're back.
That was a funny sequence. So with Jyn and Cassian there, John, couldn't agree more. That was perfect.
Come here, I could not believe it.
It was awesome.
Holding hands like that, they're friends, right? Like that works, and they've been through hell together in a short period of time. So yeah, totally well done.
And even if there was going to be more, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So having watched a lot of all the context of pre original trilogy, did you guys see any or have any impact as far as Saw Gerrera's death? I kind of like having watched all of the Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff. Like, it kind of hit me a little bit, even though he was a psycho, a legitimate psycho.
I mean, he was for the cause, but he was an extremist for sure.
Extremist, 100%. Even
now,
the Fallen Order. Right?
I wouldn't say that even after watching a Clone Wars and stuff like Saw was always still a B at best character for me.
Yeah. Did you guys know that George Lucas had a live action TV series in development before he sold to Disney for Saw?
We already talked about it on this episode.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
I see John. He's waiting for the kill.
Star Wars Underground, though? That you call the name of everything?
Thank you for telling us a name that we couldn't come up with.
Like we just did to Tim, we apparently did the same thing to you and just told you to go away for a little bit. No, so John did talk about it.
I must have zoned on that. Yeah, my bad.
So Gareth Edwards pitched this idea for Rogue One as an episode as Star Wars Underground. You said Underground.
That's what it's called.
Kudos to JT for coming up with that because I was not going to get there.
45 minutes later, we got a name.
Yes. It was John Null. He pitched that idea that John's talking about. So
who did I say?
Gareth
Edwards got it. Yep.
Tomato.
All right, guys, get your story straight. Come on.
So
can't believe anything now.
Who said what? Right? We all struggle with that apparently.
JT, thanks for bringing that fact to the table.
Honestly, that was close.
You brought it up first.
You bring that up. I'm here for it.
I'm happy you didn't know that it happened earlier, which is great. But yeah, Saw Gerrera was like a George Lucas character for sure. That was like a guy he wanted to continue to do more with for sure. So nice that he came in there. To answer your question, JT, didn't hit any more for me, I feel like, after seeing the Clone Wars, but still strong, right? Because he's like, yeah, I'm done with this breathing apparatus. Like I'm good to go. So I appreciate that.
I thought you were gonna say I'm done with this whole breathing thing.
Well, he does say that in a way.
That's true. Totally true.
He has that in common with almost all of our heroes, though. At some point in the movie.
So sick of this whole breathing thing. Dunzo.
Overrated.
The one guy who wants it, Darth Vader. Jerks.
Can't have it. Oh my god, what a beautiful story. Ironic.
Took all their breath away. All their breath. The Death Star emerging from the clouds on Scarif is one of my favorite Star Wars visuals ever.
That's cool. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
it is awesome.
And it's coming up on Krennic. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How perfect is that? The poetic injustice.
He wanted credit for the creation. He wanted it. It's right in his face, baby.
And the shot doesn't even really aim at the city. It aims right through that tower. They knew what they were doing. Tarkin knew what he was. Hurts every time I see it. But what a shot of that thing emerging through the clouds there.
There are a lot of really cool reveals like that. So like there's one where there's a Star Destroyer, I think, flying in front of the Death Star, and just like the Death Star gets slowly revealed with the shadow. There's a lot of really cool reveals like that. Like the cinematography in this movie is super, super good.
And the music that goes on there really supports that too. It's perfect. Oh, I always stick my head there. So Ryan Johnson and Ron Bergman, who the writers and directors on Last Jedi, they are some of the Death Star technicians that you can see. The joke is where the railing is not, where you see the green laser go by. They were there. You see, as we get into a sequence that I want to end with shortly, not going to say who it's about, but he's a really cool Sith Lord. Anyway, Chris Nolan actually is the rebel that screams launch. That's really cool. Actually, Christopher Nolan is that guy. Cool. And then Gareth Edwards is the one who actually hits the switch. The we've been talking about all night. All I want to talk about past this, let's talk about that Vader scene. Because I'll tell you, I'd be hard pressed to reveal more Star Wars sequences that have as much of a oh shit factor than that one for me. I was so downright giddy when Darth Vader showed up there. Oh,
it was so unexpected. It was so unexpected. They showed Vader on the bridge. He's like, let's launch a boarding party, and you thought that was like the perfect setup for A New Hope. Okay, boarding party. He's gonna chase after that ship. Like that's it. No, that's not the ship they're talking about. And you're gonna see him in the hallway. You see a lightsaber in this movie. Oh my god! Like nobody expected it, and it was just so well done.
Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say I love the difference of how he force choked everyone in that hallway. Like prior, he's using 2 fingers, and then he starts using the full fist.
Yeah.
And he generally chokes that like he's mad. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought of was Fallen Order. That's like the first thing I could think of.
Dude,
I was
Josiah said, like, can you think of a sequence that hits harder than this? Yeah, the only one close is also Vader and Fallen Order.
You see the power. It's just like
that's what I see so bad in more live action. And honestly, like we're starting to see a lot more of this like high ability Vader, right? Like Rebels, Fallen Order here.
The comics
probably see it. Kenobi.
The comics do a really good job. I hate saying that because the comics are such.
I gotta get to it.
They're such an. No, honestly, like it's not your fault. Comics are they're an obscure medium. So I understand that. Like it's on them to show more people what we see out of that.
Right,
dude. There's so much going on in that sequence, but when that lightsaber ignites, this movie for about 30 seconds becomes pure horror. Because those actors, by the way, that play the Rebel Alliance troops sell that beautifully.
Are they selling it or are they actually scared? Because I would be.
They might be.
Like the kids in Revenge of the Sith, really. It's crazy.
That's the Skywalker.
Yeah, for sure. You've got Vader throwing people out of the way. You've got the one guy on the ceiling.
And then he cuts him in half as he's walking behind him. Like, as an afterthought. He's like, bro, you're already done, but just in case, like, just so you know, you're done. You're done. Like,
he
as an
yanks
afterthought.
all their weapons away.
Oh.
Good luck. The guy... How close is this to failing, right? Like the plans almost don't make it there. They
Right.
pass it through that door that won't open. Holy crap.
Why won't the door open? That's Vader, man. That's Vader. That's confirmed by Gareth Edwards that Vader is holding the door closed.
It's mind-blowing because he stabs that guy and he releases that hold.
Yes.
On the door.
Yes.
So
what a cool scene through the door.
I love even as it fades away, just showing him continuing to mow down rebels.
Yes.
So, John, I wouldn't say that it was totally unexpected. And the reason being, you have the boarding party. It could just die right there. But at that point, there was so much in the momentum in the rumor that Vader was supposed to be mowing down rebels in this movie. And allegedly a large part of the rewrites, like some of it was too much. So like he was supposed to be doing some of this on the beaches of Scarif. That would have been
Interesting.
cool.
See, I was removed from that, so I didn't have that.
I mean, that would have been a cool sequence to me, but I can't imagine anything like what we got there. That was perfection.
I would have taken it. I would have taken that.
I think
would've
that's
been so
like when
sweet.
you're like dying of thirst. Someone's like, "Here, just a little, like a good little sip of water." Then you like are
I'll
done
take-
and like,
I'll take the full
I
bottle,
want all
please.
of the water. Like I don't
Yeah.
want just a sip. Give me everything.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Totally
And
understood.
And you're right. It probably would have lessened that scene a little bit, but like I would have still
Yeah.
taken that shit. That would be sweet.
By the way, the music in the background is a voice chorus of the Imperial March. Oh my gosh, my heart. That is such a special sequence. One of my favorite in any Star Wars movie ever, and for me, that is saying oh so much.
The
I
only
talk
thing
about
I'll
it forever.
say about the score in this movie, it's not about the score actually, is I think the mixing is not as good as it should be, and I almost wonder if that's because like it's not John Williams, so like they don't put the score as the up like as the centerpiece of the scene, because I didn't really realize that was orchestral. I didn't realize that was not what'd you say? It was
It was just a voice.
a voice, yeah. So like an
chorus of
acapella chorus, right? Like
Yes.
I didn't even realize that was it. Like it's so muted in the back that I didn't even realize that. So like the mixing in this movie isn't where it should be, probably because like they don't have their star, scorer.
It could have also been the fact, like you said, John, that a lot of this happened in short order.
True.
So closer to release than anticipated. But man, go just watch this. When I saw this movie, I was scouring like Twitter for that clip, and of course, someone had it on there. And I just watched it over and over and over again, and then of course saw it in theaters the next day. And it's so funny. My last thought on this, I went to see it last second. I want to say whoever I was going with dropped out, so I ended up having extra tickets. And the person I went with, 100%, this was me. Because it was their first time watching it. I was like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I love that. I love those experiences.
But here's the thing. The person was unfazed. No emotion. Talked about it afterwards, and they were like, I didn't like the Vader moment whatsoever. There's a bigger story behind this.
God.
It's not justifiable, by the way. It's bad opinion in my mind. But like this person did not like it, and I was dumbfounded when they just had like a stone face on it.
Was
I was
it
like,
Adam?
No,
Okay,
no, it's not Adam Hur.
Just a thought.
So, by the way, kudos to Adam. He did a sick cosplay for the Shore Trooper that he did at Nickel City Con with us one time.
Really? That's cool.
He did a great job of that. But anyway, that's all I got on Rogue One in terms of notes here. Crazy stuff. Who's your favorite character? JT, you said Chariot, right?
Chariot, hands down.
Tim,
Galen Urso.
he's your guy.
Yep. Even if he was only in it for 10 minutes, I can't.
Mads
get enough of
Mikkelsen
him.
he's got presence, man. He
Yes.
just looks like a cool guy, even if he's not talking.
Yep.
Let me tell you. John, who's your guy or gal?
Cassian Andor. I think Cassian is super cool. I will say that Cassian was one of the ones that, like, when I first saw this, I'm like, all right, that's a cool, I get it. He's kind of like the Han Solo, but he's a little bit more bad. Like, he just ices a dude in cold blood in the first few minutes of this movie. Like,
Why? Why did he do that?
The guy's like, I'll never be able to climb this wall.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Bah! What are you doing? Just cold blooded, man. The why behind it, I mean, yeah, he's just like he's a dude who has he's got a shady past. He's done some shit, but he, like, at the end of the day, he'll do anything for the rebellion, and like crosses the line for sure.
He's kind of like CIA for them, right?
Yeah.
Like he's gonna do whatever it takes. He's got to get the intelligence. That's his thing.
Right.
So,
but for me, when Cassian came through, it's the scene in the hangar when he's talking to Jyn Erso, when he said like, hey, like, yeah, you got me. I was gonna kill your father, but I didn't. Yeah. Right? Like, so, like, I disobeyed an order. It didn't happen. And she's like, I forgot what she says. Like, you'll never talk your way out of this. He's like, I don't have to, and just walks right past her.
Yeah.
that is a very powerful sequence because he also
Anybody
gives
else?
context to him being in the fight since he was 6 years old. He says, right,
Exactly. You
powerful.
You pick and choose. Like, what a luxury it is to, like, pick and choose and be able to join this join this movement right now. But, like, I've been here since I was 6 years old, and, like, So
Right.
I think Cassian is the star of this for me for sure.
A great performance by Diego Luna. Can't wait for the series. I feel like we forget a lot about that
Right.
one. I think we're
Announced
going to
so
hear more
long
about it
ago.
in
I think it's gonna be like spy espionage style, right? It's the rumor
I would
that's
have
out
to think.
there.
I just
Yeah,
want to see him icing dudes, just like in the back.
If it's spy espionage star, are you guys not gonna like it? Like you don't like Captain Winter?
Not if it's half baked like Winter Soldier. Yeah, not if it's like an elementary approach at espionage, then I won't really care about it.
My God.
Elementary approach at espionage. Oh my God, the superhero movie isn't all superhero. They do a little bit of twists and turns. It's the best.
No. It's a copy and paste of Captain Winter Soldier.
Well, then we'll only like it a mild amount.
It'd be fine then, yeah. It'd be like, a decent
okay.
movie.
Be number one then, right? You saying?
Be number one. Right.
Number one for a lot of crazies. Don't worry.
Hi.
From all indications, Andor is going to be a good spy thriller. So we'll see. But I think we're going to get some word on that at the end of May at Star Wars Celebration. So it's one of my predictions there. Cassian's a great character. You guys all named great characters. I feel like Darth Vader's too easy of a character for me. That would probably be my pick, but I'm going to actually go with Jyn Erso. I like Felicity Jones's performance in this. I think there's a lot of depth, whether it's the rebellious nature that she's supposed to capture with joining the Rebel Alliance, to her leadership, to kind of bringing that crazy band of rebels together there. Even her pitch to the fighters as they're getting past the shield on Scarif, basically quoting Saw Gerrera, telling them how they can turn the tide of the battle. All of that very, very powerful. Plus, you've got the dynamic with, of course, it's Star Wars. It's family, right? She's talking about her dad there a lot, and that's a big part of why she does what she does. So I think I'm going to go with Jyn Erso for that. Someone hard to take your eyes off of from a protagonist standpoint. And you could argue there's quite a few of them in this movie in such an ensemble cast. So, guys, that moment, I'm sure to some degree it's all the Vader moment. Maybe it's not. To me, it's Vader showing up, whether it's at the end of the movie or even in the middle on Mustafar. Is there any other moment that kind of sticks out in your mind that you're like, yeah, I want to talk about this? Was it a quote, kind of a more subtle moment, or maybe a cool action sequence? Anything that comes to mind, Tim or JT, if you want to go.
The part where they have to get at that switch in order to be able to communicate to relay the Death Star plans, and when he starts walking to the console switch, what is it, Chirrut? And he's like, the Force is one. I won with the Force is one with me. I just think that's absolutely awesome. Like, everyone else is afraid. He's like, you know what? It's my time. He kind of had an inkling throughout the entire show, just, and just making the walk, and the slow motion, every shot you see, Stormtrooper's amazing aim there. So,
sure.
I love that part. So.
That's a good one. I think that's kind of the call right there, right? That he believes in the Force, and the Force is protecting him. Where a guy, one of the rebel troopers, is like, "I'm gonna go," and then he gets mowed down right away. So there's a lot of.
It is amazing though that his what is his name, Baze, his brother, runs out there. Also, no one needs to shoot anymore. They just don't need to shoot. They let them have their moment, and then he finally decides to get up and fight again, and then everyone's ready. So little odd timing, but.
It's powerful for sure. Yeah. Those two in their dynamic. JC, did you have another moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's one you mentioned, but it's the Fortress Vader when he chokes him. And not just that happening and us seeing Vader, but at the end of it, like he just turns and smiles at Vader. Like it was like in a way like it was, like Vader's playful way of saying get the job done, right? It's such a weird thing. And normally when we see Vader choke, he's just pissed off and wants you to get the job done. But like the way he just reacts to that, he just smiles and I'm about to get this promotion or something like that. You know what I mean? So it was really like neat, cool reaction. So
Krennic might be another choice if I had to pick another character there. Just a really, really good performance for a Star Wars villain standpoint from Ben Mendelsohn. John, we were talking about if there's a moment other than Vader, which for me, how could it be? But is there anything that sticks out to you? Maybe you already mentioned it.
Yeah, I did already mention it. It's Cassian's conversation with Jyn on the hangar there. It's we get so much about those two characters in that scene. We get the we get the full reveal of who Cassian is and what he's willing to do and what he's done and where he's come from and his commitment to this. And we also get Jin's kind of turn there too. I think that's the point in the movie where you get Jin's turn to the Rebel Alliance. She understands what's going on here. She sees his perspective. She sees what he's been through. She sees the fact that he did actually spare her father, right? Like, of course, he ended up dying anyways, but like, you know, he made a choice that was against an order, but was morally right. So she sees a little bit about what this Rebel Alliance really is. So that scene right there is like, those are your two main protagonists, and that's the scene that defines what they are in this movie. So I think that's mine for sure.
Yeah, all great moments all around, and it was a quieter moment in an action-packed movie that really didn't have a lot of those quieter moments. So powerful stuff for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the end of our show here. We're going to give you the official Star Wars reviewed rankings. And I'm very curious to see. We've all got different degrees of love for this movie. Probably not quite Force Awakens #1 love, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. So let's see. John, I'm going to pass it over to you to talk about the current rankings and especially that great #1 ranking that we have there.
So speaking of the Force Awakens being #1, unfortunately, we've got Tim Talbot himself using his Jedi mind trick. His Jedi mind trick manipulating the rankings.
To the masses. Be original.
So you could try to mind trick it back. I don't think.
No, we don't. Just shut up. Just shut up.
No?
Come on, man.
Who invited that guy?
You've done enough damage to this show. So
the pictures and the memes where you're like moments before disaster strikes. Definitely there's one with me giving a passionate speech about Force Awakens. Tim's going like this. Freaking cutting me off to not even let me finish it. That's one of them.
So if you're not up to date here, last episode was The Force Awakens. Josiah and I put it at #1. Tim felt so passionately that we were wrong that he used his Jedi mind trick, which means he can attempt to alter the rankings.
And I was clearly right.
And he was clearly right. He put a poll up on Twitter, and everybody agreed. It was like, I don't even care. The Empire Strike Back goes to #1. Force Awakens goes to 2. Those are the new official rankings. Tim uses mind trick. The people agree. That's what it is. Whatever.
Everything is right in the world.
Let's not dwell on it.
Perfect balance is all things should be.
Get out of here. Wrong franchise. John and I actually even talked about ending the series after last episode. But here we are,
Yeah, we could have canceled it and just left it at #1, but
yeah. Oh, Tim, it's so weird. We ended the podcast. We're not doing a review anymore.
Listen, I'll just say this.
I forgot my Discord password.
Yeah,
30, that actually happened. 32% of the poll users were very brave, even though their names were not there. And
they were probably you three because you never shared the stupid post.
We didn't share the post. That was our strategy. Our strategy was like
campaign.
No, we're like, just keep this on the low. Don't let anybody know we're having this conversation right now.
We've been canceled.
No, yeah, that's tough. Damn it, Josh. Josh,
thank you for admitting your wrong mistakes.
It would have been way worse if he changed the vote.
Yeah.
If it was like 49-51.
I would have lost my mind.
Because I told Josh, help us out here. Okay, so for
wrong one.
All right, so the new official rankings, we've got #1, The Empire Strikes Back. #2, The Force Awakens. #3, A New Hope. #4, Revenge of the Sith. #5, Return of the Jedi. #6, Attack of the Clones. 7, The Phantom Menace. Already controversial rankings. We're going to get a lot of flack regardless.
It's going to keep going.
It's about to turn up next week. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's going to get worse and worse. Where should we start with Rogue One? I am going to be brave enough to put it ahead of the bottom 2 prequels. I think that it's fair to say we all like this movie better than Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, right?
Yeah.
Want to start there? Is that fair?
I'm good with that.
All right. Let's start voting. Who thinks it's better than Return of the Jedi? Who thinks that? Josiah does. Clean sweep, we all do. Clean sweep it. We all think so. What about Revenge of the Sith? Oh, Josiah. Classic Josiah.
Get him out of here.
You know what? He's afraid to commit. He's afraid to make a real decision. And for once in your life, make a real decision. Just be a man. Just make a real decision. Oh, there he is.
Anyway.
All right. So we've got it above Jedi. Who thinks it belongs above Revenge of the Sith? Show me a hand. JT, is your hand up? I can't tell. No? It is? So for reference, we're all cropped basically to our faces, so hands kind of got to be right in front of your faces. So we are all of us, right? All of us.
All of us.
So we all go.
It's a little bit though. I'm a big, and I think Joe's on the same page. I'm a revenge apologist. So
There's nothing to apologize for. It's a great movie.
No, I'm with you, JT.
I'm talking about the overall masses, right? But
despite my love for that movie, Rogue One is my definitive.
Yeah,
up above it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, A New Hope, the original, Star Wars itself. Who thinks Rogue One is better than A New Hope? JT does. I do, and that's it.
Oh, what do we got? No, I'm definitely there.
Let's go.
I'm gonna go 4.
Whoa,
Oh, come on.
Look at all this.
Now he
suspense.
chickens out. Now he just wants to be like us.
Wow.
No, I've been back and forth on it, and I feel like it complemented so well. It's just more. I just can't. I do love it, but
Josh. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. All right, so this is where it gets tricky. Tricky. Who thinks that Rogue One is better than...
Hang on. JT has a question.
Yeah, which question, JT? Oh, you just
letting us know.
Wait, no, hang on. He's frozen. Okay, I know what that's like.
That makes sense. Okay.
It's better. It's better in Force Awakens.
Sorry, continue.
Who thinks that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is better than Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens? And then there was one. You might say that this is Solo, a Star Wars story. JT, you're alone there, my friend. I think you're alone there. JT thinks that Rogue One is
it's gonna destroy the polls.
Oh, it might. You're right. Hey, that's
I'm
fine.
checking that.
All right.
100%.
So let's clarify. Let's put things on the table.
I just love that the Force Awakens is gonna go down one more.
That's fine. Let's put things on the table here.
I don't know about that. I think you're gonna get a way closer poll than you're thinking here.
Of Rogue One though.
All right,
they romanticize it for sure.
Let's define.
They do. No, 100%.
It was trending on Twitter the other day.
All right, let's define this. Let's lay this out here. All right, so the official ranking right now that we have all agreed upon, besides JT, is that Rogue One lands at 3. So myself, Josiah, and Tim do not think Rogue One is better than The Force Awakens, so it sits there at 3 in the current rankings. JT, you use what is called a Jedi mind trick. Jedi mind trick, right? Am I right?
Yep.
Confirmed? Okay. So a Jedi mind trick is when you feel these rankings aren't right. You want to change them in some way. So what you can do, you can use a Jedi mind trick. We all get 3 of them. 2 of them. What was the decision on that? We said 2, right? 2. We get 2 because it's only 11 movies. So we all get 2 Jedi mind tricks. And what you can do is take 2 movies that are touching in the rankings, and you can try to get them flipped. So just by using that Jedi mind trick, you don't get it flipped immediately. You got to put a poll on Twitter. So twitter.com at @the_Geekiverse. You can vote. This will be up the same day the podcast goes live. It'll be up for 3 days. It'll be simple. Which is the better movie? The Force Awakens, Rogue One. If JT can get Rogue One to get more votes than The Force Awakens, then his mind trick was successful. And it will hop it in the rankings, as you just saw earlier.
I don't think it'll be a blowout either way, and I'm good with either.
I'd really put it above A New Hope for me.
I would probably I'll probably put my money on you winning this, to be honest.
I think I do too, but I honestly wouldn't really be upset.
Either way, it's fine. Yeah.
It's better.
I think that the way that the rest of the sequel trilogy has panned out, we have seen more people sour on The Force Awakens.
John, you were spot on, because people will not separate Force Awakens as a standalone movie. They'll see it as a trilogy.
Yep.
And in general, that's totally unfair, but that's how I think it's going to go.
It's going to go that way for sure. We already see that.
Perception or literally, because I mean, you could if you want to stay in the poll, like standalone, like
No,
specifically.
no. It is what it is.
You know what I mean?
Face value. It's face value.
Right.
You read these. Read
Well,
these.
I feel like that you also got to think though that the reason a Rogue One is so good is because it builds on what A New Hope is.
For sure, but
Which is, I feel like, a double-edged
That's not the
sword. You know
question.
what I mean?
It-
No, I
it's-
agree. I'm
it's
just
not-
saying, as a standalone movie, how would you rank A New Hope if you never, or a Rogue One if you never saw A New Hope?
Right.
My thinking, and I think your guys' think as to why it probably takes over The Force Awakens, is, right? I mean, the original trilogy in general, right by there. Tim just won the poll, keeping, or did you move it up? You moved it up.
No,
Because
no.
you guys had that one, right?
We had it at one.
Force Awakens was one.
Yeah, he dropped Force Awakens to 2.
To go up. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you know, the Rogue One connects to the original trilogy, man. People love that. So.
For sure.
I'm just so glad that Joe thought of that good idea to do the.
I hate this show. I hate all these people. I hate everything about what I do here. I don't know why I keep doing this. I do so much work. I hate
That's
it.
I'm
This
really
really became not fun.
because obviously I wasn't on an episode for Empire. I'm not a fan of Empire being one.
Oh my gosh, Joe.
Interesting.
John, JT.
Joe, John,
Whatever you are.
JT. He went through.
I don't know
everybody.
your name anymore.
I mean,
What's
John-
so funny to me
John
though
was
is that
technically right.
he likes a Rogue One a lot, but he just said prior that he leans towards more having people that are Force users. There's literally one Jedi in this, or Sith Lord in this
Zero Jedi
entire
in this
movie.
Zero
No
Jedi.
Jedi. And
I
you know,
I'll say this. I don't think it's number one because we haven't watched enough. I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right.
We haven't watched another movie yet.
I gotta
Interesting.
save my Jedi mind trick for a good one because I am.
So,
gonna need it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for some sort of technicality to result in JT somehow getting 5 extra Jedi mind tricks.
Wait, I'm gonna see a notification that you guys are live. Star Wars reviewed, and I'm not gonna know that anyone's recording, so I can't use my Jedi mind trick.
Like accidentally,
I
like
thought you were busy.
want to be spelled wrong or something. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
gonna be something where we're like, oh, we gotta redo it. You know, like, gosh.
Well, all I'm saying is if the next 3 episodes are just me and Josiah, don't be surprised.
All right, I like the idea of that. That's good. Yeah, maybe Elon can help us out there. That'd be great.
You've reset all polls. I love it. Oh, we can finally get Guardians where it belongs.
Yeah. There's a lot wrong with what's happening right now with our polls. I'll tell you that. But hey, it is what it is, and the people have spoken, even if they have spoken incorrectly. So, ladies and gentlemen, go to Twitter, cast your vote. You can get right with yourself if you're brave enough in your heart. Galen Urso, go do it. Lots of fun tonight talking about Rogue One here on Star Wars Reviewed. John, let's wrap things up. Where can people find you on social media? And if people like, I don't know, Star Wars, they like TikTok, what should they check out?
So you can find me on all social medias at Disruptoid right here.
Beautiful.
Check it. Oh, it's backwards for the people watching at home. But you can just imagine that says Disruptoid. If you like TikTok and you like Star Wars, please follow us because we're doing a lot of fun stuff over on TikTok.com/thegeekiverse. We're doing cool stuff. We've got some guest the Star Wars characters. We've got about like 7 or 8 episodes up right now. But we've got about like 20 banked, so we're gonna have more coming out. People seem to like them. We're having fun with them. Every time we meet up, we're gonna record different stuff like that, like guest the Star Wars character, guest the MCU character. Who knows where we go next with it, but it's been cool. So follow us on TikTok. It's been a blasty blast. And keep watching this show for some terrible Star Wars opinions.
That is for sure. The takes that are as cold as carbonite. Tim, where can people find you on social media? And what are you up to these days in the world of gaming?
At Tim Tales, and I just beat Elden Ring not too long ago, and then I started playing Tudyk, beat Tudyk, and now I really don't know what to play yet. So I've been playing a little bit of Val, and but yeah, actually been playing Returnal. That's the game I've been diving back into. Been trying to get warmed up for when one of these 3 gentlemen get it on the PS Plus. So
I have it. I own it. I bought Returnal day 1. I played a ton of it. I just haven't.
You just don't want to play with me. I get it.
I'll play with you. It's just I didn't commit to the full game.
He wants to play with you. He doesn't want to play with your opinions. Okay.
Yeah,
There it is.
Give your opinion
There
at
it
home.
is.
So, Tim, if you're ready for a real challenge, you should play Lego Star Wars.
I will. Once I finish the movies, I am totally going to. I don't want to get spoilers.
Fair
That'll
enough.
be what does.
You can play the first 8, which would be great.
Are they going to do
98% of the game?
gonna nod? Are they going to do a spoiler nod like at the beginning, like, oh,
I'm
I don't
through
think
Force
so.
Awakens. It hasn't happened yet.
okay, that's fair.
For what it's worth. But anyway, JT, same question. Social media, what's going on in the world of gaming for you?
Just I head over to the Geekiverse pages. Don't worry about my hot takes on my Twitter and Facebook. You guys don't want to see that.
Yeah, I can tell you, it is not worth it. It is not. It is not worth it.
If it's related to Guardians of the Galaxy or Star Wars
or food,
definitely not.
Food, all that stuff. You guys don't even want to know my opinions. Head over to Geekiverse's YouTube.
Carrot cake.
TikTok. Oh, that carrot cake is trash. Let's stop it. Stop it.
So good.
Stop
Let's
it.
do a poll.
Let's just not even do that.
Don't let's not embarrass JT. No. We'll I'll
put anything against carrot cake if it wins. Anything.
Wait, what?
Anything.
You want to poll desserts and put carrot cake against what? I guarantee.
Just do you like carrot cake? Yes or no?
Oh. I don't think that wins. Carrot cake's not popular.
I think that you're like incredibly skewed on your opinions with food.
Carrot cake is so bad.
Yeah, I think you're a little far off the deep end than you even realize with food opinions, dude.
Post a poll. I don't care.
Post a poll. So what is great is John has been passionate about a lot of Star Wars ranking opinions, MCU ranking opinions, especially in the last few minutes. But if I ever saw The Force Awakens in him, it was when you talked about carrot cake. Let me tell you.
I never showed JT that clip. That was pretty. Oh, sorry.
Let's do that.
I want to know what that's about. But as far as gaming, I have been playing the Star Wars Lego as well.
Yes.
And I need to get my next endeavor. I got to do Horizon, the sequel, and I need to do, or Forbidden West, right? And then I need to do Miles Morales, though. I still haven't played it.
Dude, you haven't played the best Spider-Man game yet?
Everything.
I think that's one game I need to borrow from you. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to borrow like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to go through all our texts. I know, digital guy over here, and find out everything we owe each other. Because I got some stuff on the charity.
Search the word borrow, and then whatever pops up.
Yeah. There you go.
Literally.
Sure.
I'm saying you can borrow because he has everything.
Yeah. So remind me before Thursday. Well, I'll bring a few of those for sure.
So I can rock it out.
We've been talking about video games here. If you like video games, you want to check out our weekly all gaming podcast. We film it. Or we stream it, live right on Twitch, and that is called Busy Sticks. So John and I enjoy talking about that every week, and also we like beer, so we incorporate some beer into it. Get involved with that. Again, that's Busy Sticks. Thank you, John, for that. You can find me on social media at I am Josiah. Usually talking about the Sabres these days. Hockey's been fun again in Western New York, so good times ahead there, I think. Guys, our friends over at 26 Shirts. Have you heard of 26 Shirts? I don't think I've ever mentioned them on the show. 26shirts.com. Go check them out. What do? They sell really, really nice, awesome Western New York themed merchandise, Buffalo Bills themed merchandise, Sabres. Oh, and also a shirt that Tim Talbot is wearing right there. That's our Buffalo Venom t-shirt.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. Well, get in the know. It's 26shirts.com. What do? They sell that merchandise, and a good portion of every sale goes to a person, a family, or a charity. Guys, I don't know if you know this. They just crossed a big threshold, a big milestone, $1.4 million raised. That has gone directly to these individuals, families, and charities. So round of applause, wherever you are, for our friends Del Reed and the rest of 26 Shirts. Again, 26shirts.com. Doing good for a lot of people who really, really need it. Twitch.tv/The Geekiverse. If you like watching live content, go watch all of our episodes in review at youtube.com/The Geekiverse. Listen on podcast services around the globe. And of course, for some more Star Wars reviewed, and we've got some MCU reviewed coming up, hopefully in the coming weeks. We just finished Endgame, so we're going to be on to the second Spider-Man movie, not the most recent one, which is Far From Home. Check that out. Keep it locked to thegeekiverse.com for everything geeky. For Tim, for JT, for John, I'm Josiah. Thanks for tuning in tonight. May the Force be with you. Have a great night.